Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the SHN Sports coverage of Georgetown Eagle baseball. We're live here on the campus of Pflugerville High School for tonight's ball game here in District 23 between your Georgetown Eagles and the Pflugerville Panthers. Your Eagles come in sitting atop the district, the only undefeated team remaining in district at 2-0 after a two-game sweep of the Conley Cougars last week in head-to-head action. And then right below them, Hendrickson and Eastview sit at 2-1. Elgin Pflugerville sit at 1-1. Bastrop Cedar Creek 1-2 each, and Conley at 0-2. Only a couple of games got played last night. That was between Eastview and Cedar Creek. Eastview was victorious 9-4, and Hendrickson beat Bastrop 7-4 last night. They were able to get their games in. The other two games tonight here, Georgetown at Pflugerville, and then you have Elgin at Conley High School tonight to make up their game from yesterday. The Eagles 7-10-1 overall on the year, and district play now in full swing this week. Tonight here against Pflugerville. Friday night back home at Eagle Field to take on the Pflugerville Panthers before next week we move on to the matchup with the Elgin Wildcats. We're here in the friendly confines, the broadcast booth here, brought to you by Borrow from Morrow. Matt's team dedicated to providing the best mortgage experience possible by offering easy-to-use mortgage tools, including the handy mobile app, competitive rates, and assistance from a certified mortgage advisor. Matt understands the local markets, has access to a wide variety of loan programs, and is ready to guide you through the process. Your family, your future, our focus. For your mortgage needs, remember, Matt Morrow, Borrow from Morrow. For more information, borrowfrommorrow.com, NMLS number 464148. Matt Morrow, proud sponsor of Georgetown Eagle baseball. The Pflugerville Panthers come into the ball game 4-11 overall, 1-1 in district play as they split last week with, trying to see who it was. They split in their games last week, and so they look here to try to rebound and pick up a win. But Georgetown looking to stay undefeated in district here on the road tonight. And a beautiful night. A little wind coming in. You hear it in the mics as we go throughout the game, but a beautiful night for baseball. Very little clouds around us. A little track meet going on behind us. You may hear that coming in through the mics as well. A junior high track meet here at Pflugerville High School being hosted as well. The Pflugerville Panthers, the home team, they're in the all whites, white pants, white jersey tops, with lettering and numbers in yellow outlined in blue, white hats with blue bills, and the blue Pflugerville P on the front outlined in yellow. Your Georgetown Eagles in the beautiful baby blues, baby blue pants, baby blue jersey tops, white numerals outlined in the Georgetown blue, with the baby blue and white hats with the G logo on the front with a dark blue bill. They will be in the third base dugout as the visitors here tonight. The Pflugerville Panthers and Georgetown Eagles in head-to-head. Georgetown, a decisive lead in that category, 9-3 overall. The last time these two teams met was back in 2012, almost 11 years ago. Georgetown won that ball game 1-0 on April the 5th, and Georgetown currently has a 3-game winning streak over the Pflugerville Panthers in a head-to-head matchup. The Pflugerville Panthers, let's go over their school information here. Just try to keep everything locked down with this wind as it tries to blow away from us. The superintendent, Pflugerville Independent School District, Dr. Douglas Killian. The principal at Pflugerville High School, Zachary Klapis. The athletic director for Pflugerville ISD is Mike McCurchin. Athletic coordinator, Charles Taylor for Pflugerville High School. And the athletic trainer, Lauren De La Torre. The head coach for the Pflugerville Panthers is Dale Wagner. His assistant coaches, Dustin Johnson, Josh Wagner, and Dan Tamez. For the Panthers, the starting lineups brought to you by G-Town Lumber and Supply, located at 9400 Brown Lane in Austin, Texas, serves general contractors, subcontractors, and the do-it-yourselfers. We specialize in dimensional lumber, decking, siding, doors and windows, hand-hewn timbers, KDAT lumber, and corbels. Hometown service like none other. Visit us 9400 Brown Lane in Austin, Texas, or visit the website gtownlumberandsupply.com. G-Town Lumber and Supply says, go Eagles. They bring you the starting lineups here in the ball game for the Pflugerville Panthers as selected by head coach Dale Wagner. Leading it off and on the mound is number 10, Jacob Palmer. Batting second, playing left field, number 17, D'Angelo Williams. Batting third in right field, number 22, Jacob Perez. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 14, Cole Taylor. Batting fifth and playing catcher, number 5, Colton Williams. Batting 6th, playing second base, number 21, Jordan McGregor. Batting 7th and playing third base, number 24, Max Mendoza. Batting 8th, and the designated hitter, number 25, Diego Mora. And the center fielder batting 9th wears number 1, Ethan Minjarez. So it'll be Palmer, Williams, and Perez in the top third. Taylor, Williams, McGregor in the middle third. Mendoza, Reed, and Minjarez, the bottom third, for the hometown Pflugerville Panthers. And the G-Town Lumber and Supply starting lineup for your Georgetown Eagles, as selected by head coach Jordan Vieira. Assistant coaches for Coach Vieira: Chad Payne, David Durrell, Robert Halm, and Mike Cockrell. Athletic trainer Avery Mann. Stat girls: Grace King, Carter Campbell, Nicole Witt, and Ruby Hellman. The starting lineup for your Eagles, leading off, and playing center field, number 17, Devin Peterson. Batting second, playing shortstop, number 2, Eli Hellman. Batting third, playing third base, number 4, that's Brady Peters. Batting fourth and on the mound, number 21, Riley Leininger. Batting fifth, playing first base, number 18, David Fluitt. Batting sixth and playing left field, number 10, Andrew Nations. In the seventh slot, the designated hitter, number 11, Jackson Rainey. In the eighth spot, playing second base, number 20, Talon Ball. And batting ninth in right field, number 9, is Noah Boris. Reese Herrera will be the catcher behind the plate for tonight's ball game for the Eagles to start things out. We'll take a quick time out, bring you the national anthem, and we'll come back ready to go with the first pitch of tonight's ball game. Listen to Eagle Baseball on SHN Sports. Back here live at Pflugerville High School for tonight's ball game. On the mound warming up is the pitcher, number 10. That is Jacob Palmer, a right-hander, to start things off for the Pflugerville Panthers here tonight. Goes through his warm-up pitches with Colton Williams. One got away from him, and off the poor umpire, home plate umpire already cut one off his leg. A long distance between home plate, a little bit different than you see back at Eagle Field. A long distance behind home plate all the way to the backstop. So a pass ball, wild pitch tonight. Very key with any runners down at third base for either team. And so things to watch for. This field, 313 down the lines, 355 to the power alleys, and 363 to dead center field here at Panther Baseball Field, PHS. Baseball Stadium is what it's officially found on the website. Palmer finishes up his warm-ups. The top three hitters in the Eagle lineup due up here in the top of the first: Devin Peterson, Eli Hellman, and Brady Peters. The first inning, as well as your broadcast booth, is brought to you by the Borrow from Morrow, Matt Morrow. For your mortgage needs, remember Matt Morrow, borrowfrommorrow.com. Palmer will take his last warm-up pitch here as Williams will throw it down. Junior center fielder, number 17, Devin Peterson, will step in to lead things off. Peterson has kind of solidified himself there in center field. A lot of good play out of him. The hitting coming along. When we get back home on Friday, we'll have updated stats through the first three games of district play. Devin will step in here to lead it off from the right side. Two-man umpire crew here tonight. And Palmer, the righty, will work out of the windup. The first pitch of the ball game is down in the dirt for ball one. So Peterson starts off. Ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes here. Jacob Palmer from the windup, the 1-0 pitch. And a ball hit out into right field past the second baseman. And that's a leadoff single to open things up here in the ball game for Devin Peterson. Beautiful single in between first and second base out to right field. Perez gets it in, and that'll keep Peterson at first base with the leadoff single, the first hit of the ball game for the Eagles. And that'll bring up the senior shortstop, number 2, Eli Hellman. Hellman will step in from the right side. Peterson with the leadoff down at first base. Taylor will hold him on there. Palmer to the stretch now, works from the first base side, a throw over. Peterson dives back in safely at first base. Palmer sets up in the stretch on the first base side of the rubber. So Peterson looking there for the righty. Hellman back in the box. Palmer with the long look in. Peek over at first, and now he'll come set. The first pitch to Hellman. Hellman sends it into left center field. The center fielder on the run. His ball's going to hang up. And the catch made there by Menares. And that'll make Peterson retreat back to first base. So a nice swing and a ball driven into left center field. But a good jump by Menares. For out number 1, F8 in the book. For out number 1, and that'll bring up the third baseman, senior Brady Peters. He'll step in from the right side. Peters in the box. Peterson with the leadoff at first base. Taylor holds him on there. Palmer a look at first, and another throw over. Peterson dives back in safely there. One out here in the top of the first, a leadoff single by Devin Peterson. He stays down at first base, a fly out to left center field by Hellman. Sets us here now. Brady Peters back in from the right side. Palmer comes set. Palmer a long look in, and Peters is going to call time here. Reset. Palmer held on to it for quite a while. So now Brady Peters back in the box from the right side. Palmer a look at first. Now he'll come set from the stretch. Another peek at first base here. And now the first pitch to Peters. And it's on the outside corner for a called strike. No balls and 1 strike to start things off against Peters. Riley Leininger, the left-handed hitting pitcher, on deck for the Eagles here in the top of the first. Peterson leads off first base. Throw over attempt. Peterson dives back in safely there. Early on, the Panthers trying to keep Peterson steady at first base. Not letting him get a big lead. Here is Palmer with 3 throw-overs now. Peterson gets another lead. Now he's off on the pitch. The pitch is up high for a ball to throw down. Skips in, but not in time. Peterson under the tag. And a beautiful steal of second base for Devin Peterson. As a runner in scoring position with 1 out here in the top of the first for the Eagles. The count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike to Brady Peters. Brady steps back in from the right side with Peterson now down at second base. Palmer gets the pitch he likes, comes set. He'll take a peek back at second base. The pitch to Peters. Stays up and in for ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Brady Peters. Palmer comes set. Peterson leads off second. The 2-1 pitch. And Peters hits a line drive over the head of second baseman into right center field. Peterson's going to circle to third base, but he'll be held up there as Perez gets it in quickly. And a 1-out single to right center field. Has runners on the corners here for the Eagles in the top of the first. Beautiful line drive over the head of the leaping second baseman, McGregor, into right center field. Second hit of the ball game for the Eagles. First for Peters. And now runners on the corners, and that'll bring up the number 4 hitter in the lineup, Riley Leininger. Starting pitcher tonight as well for your Eagles. Steps in from the left sides. Here in the top of the first, runners on the corners, 1 out for the Eagles. Peters leads off first. Palmer's pitch. Leininger takes it just outside for ball 1. That'll move David Fluett, the sophomore first baseman, onto the on-deck square. Leininger a look down at third base as Coach Vieira gives out the signs. Peterson leads off third. Brady Peters off first. 1 out here in the top of the first. The 1-0 count to Leininger. Palmer comes set. The 1-0 pitch. Right there for a called strike. 1-1 the count now to Riley Leininger. Jacob Palmer, the right-handed pitcher, in some trouble here in the top of the first for Pflugerville. Only has 1 out on the inning. Runners on the corners with Riley Leininger, the number 4 hitter up for the Eagles. 1-1 pitch down to the dirt. Thank you, home plate umpire, for that save for the Panthers. He took that one off the shin guard. That'll be a 2-1 count now to Leininger. Eagles looking to strike here early, something they did in both games against the Cougars last week. Jump on the Cougars early in both ball games. Looking to do the same here. The 2-1 pitch. Peters takes off running, but Colton Williams, the catcher, couldn't get a grab on it. And so a stolen base for Peters has both runners now in scoring position. It was a called strike, so it evens out the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes to Riley Leininger with just 1 out. So Leininger will step back in for the left side. Palmer will stay in the stretch with runners on second and third with 1 out. Both runners lead off. The 2-2 pitch. Leininger takes it outside. Ball 3, and now a full count to the lefty. Fluid on deck. Leininger back in quickly from the left side. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Runners on second and third. Palmer comes set. The payoff pitch. A swing and a miss. Leininger's going to have to run down to first as it was dropped in the dirt. But Peterson not able to advance home. So a strikeout swinging. 2-3 on the putout for out number 2 of Leininger. That'll bring up the sophomore, the left-handed hitting first baseman, David Fluett. Wearing number 18, he'll step in from the left side with 2 outs and runners on second and third. Breaking ball there down low in the dirt on Palmer on that difficult 3-2 pitch. Leininger chased for out number 2. Palmer comes set. The first pitch to Fluett. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. 0-1 the count to the first baseman, David Fluett. Palmer comes set. The 0-1 pitch. Stays up high. Ball 1. 1-1 the count. Palmer now back set. The 1-1 pitch to Fluett. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. 1-2 the count now. Jacob Palmer, 7-1 on the year last year with a .64 ERA, was the district pitcher MVP. Leading it off here, the 1-2 pitch to Fluett. Ground ball out towards the mound. Palmer will field it. A flip to first in time for out number 3. And the Eagles are down here in the top of the first. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base after half an inning. Georgetown 0. The Panthers coming up to bat. After this, more Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. We'll move to the bottom of the first as Riley Leininger, the right-handed pitcher for the Eagles, warms up here in between innings. Borrow from Morrow, Matt's team's dedicated to providing the best mortgage experience possible by offering easy-to-use mortgage tools, including our handy mobile app, competitive rates, and assistance from a certified mortgage advisor. Matt understands the local markets, has access to a wide variety of loan programs, and is ready to guide you through the process. Your family, your future, our focus. For your mortgage needs, remember Matt Morrow, Borrow from Morrow. For more information, borrowfrommorrow.com. NMLS 464148, proud sponsor of Georgetown baseball and sponsor of the first inning. And now stepping in to lead things off is the pitcher for the Panthers. That's number 10, Jacob Palmer. He'll step in from the right side. Leininger from the windup with the first pitch. Just across the inside corner for a called strike. No balls and one strike. Eagles, 2 hits in the top of the first. Runners stranded at second and third. Leininger, the 0-1 pitch. Foul ball down the first baseline, out of play. And it's an 0-2 count quickly to Jacob Palmer. Palmer, D'Angelo Williams, and Perez due up here in the bottom of the first. For the Panthers, Leininger from the windup. The 0-2 pitch. And a ball fouled back to the backstop. Palmer remains alive in the at-bat. No balls and 2 strikes. Palmer back in from the right side. Leininger a look in to Herrera. Gets the pitch he likes. The 0-2 pitch. Misses just high for ball 1. 1-2 now the count. To the leadoff man, Jacob Palmer. Pitched a good first inning. Allowed 2 hits. Struck out 1. Kept the runs off the board. Leininger from the windup. The 1-2 pitch. Misses inside, ball 2. The count evens up at 2-2 now. Palmer back in, ready to go. Leininger with the 2-2 pitch. Stays high, ball 3. Palmer quickly binding the count 0-2. Has worked it back full now. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And now Leininger from the windup, the payoff pitch. Ground ball hit out towards short. Hellman will field it. He'll make the throw across the diamond in time for out number 1. 6-3 of the book. Retires Palmer. And that'll bring up to the plate the left fielder, number 17, D'Angelo Williams. Williams will step in from the left side with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. The first baseman, or correction, the right fielder, Jacob Perez on deck for the Panthers. Leininger back to the windup with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Williams, D'Angelo Williams in from the left side. The first pitch to Williams is high for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch. Ball fouled back into the screen. On the left side for strike 1. 1-1 the count. 1-1 the count. Peters playing up on the grass at third base in case of the bunt from the left-handed hitting Williams. The 1-1 pitch, a ball off the fist, hit over towards the third base dugout. Coach Vieira with the error. Can't hold on to it there, drops that one. Something we talked about last year. Vieira had that tendency to get out of the way of a line drive down the line. So let's see, he kept to his ways here. That drop. But now the 1-2 pitch to D'Angelo Williams, a ball hit down the third base line. Peters will field it, a throw across the diamond in time to get D'Angelo Williams. Nice play by the senior third baseman, Brady Peters. 5-3 on the put out for out number 2. And that'll bring up the right fielder, number 22, Jacob Perez, with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Perez will step in from the left side. Leininger look into Herrera. And from the windup, the first pitch to Perez. It's in there for a called strike. 0-1 the count. Leininger back, ready to go. The 0-1 pitch. This one misses low for ball 1. Evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. First baseman Taylor on deck for the Panthers. Should Perez get on base? The 1-1 pitch. Hit Perez, so he'll head down to first base. First hit by pitch for Leininger. That was the first base runner for the Panthers. And that will bring up the first baseman, number 14, Cole Taylor. He'll step in from the right side after looking down and getting the sign from Coach Dale Wagner. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Panthers have the runner on first. Perez will lead off. Fluid holds him on there. Leininger moves to the stretch. He works from the first base side of the rubber. Look at first, the first pitch to Taylor, misses low and outside for ball 1. Two outs here in the bottom of the first. Runner on first base. A 1-0 count to the right-handed hitting first baseman Taylor. The 1-0 pitch. Ball hit down the first base line, and it's into right field. Boris up with it, and he'll fire it into Hellman there in the infield. So a 2-out single by Taylor. As runners on first and second for the Panthers. First hit of the ball game for the Panthers. And that'll bring up the catcher, number 5, Colton Williams. Williams will step in from the right side. Colton Williams, a senior, another returning first-team All-District member from last year. The first pitch to him stays high for ball 1. Second baseman Jordan McGregor moves on deck for the Panthers with 2 outs and runners on first and second here in the bottom of the first. Leininger from the stretch. Look back at second. And now the 1-0 pitch. Ball hit into center field, base hit. Up with it is Peterson. And the runners will have to stay put. The throw cut off by Fluid behind the mound. And now another 2-out single has the bases loaded for the Panthers here in the bottom of the first. Perez moves up to third. Taylor up to second. And Williams down to first base. So 2 first-inning base hits for the Panthers as they answer the 2 hits in the top of the first by the Eagles. Colton Williams will stay on to run for himself at first base. Leininger moves back to the windup as he'll face off against the second baseman, Jordan McGregor. First pitch to McGregor is high for ball 1. So a hit by pitch and 2 back-to-back 2-out singles as the bases loaded here in the bottom of the first. 1 ball and no strikes. The 1-0 pitch. Inside corner called strike 1. Count evens out to 1 ball and 1 strike for the right-handed hitting second baseman, Jordan McGregor. McGregor back in the box. Leininger from the windup. The 1-1 pitch. Breaking pitch catches the inside corner. Beautiful pitch there by Leininger. And now the count 1 ball and 2 strikes to McGregor. The third baseman Mendoza on deck for the Panthers. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking pitch across the inside corner. Called strike 3. And the Eagles get out of trouble here in the bottom of the first. No runs on 2 hits. No errors and bases left loaded full of Panthers. And after 1 complete inning, we remain scoreless. 0-0 your score. More Eagle baseball after this on SHN. Move to the top of the second inning. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Eagles. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Panthers in the first inning. The Eagles left 2 runners on base. The Panthers left them loaded. As Liner strikes out, McGregor looking for out number 3 to get out of trouble there in the bottom of the first. G-Town Lumber and Supply, located at 9400 Brown Lane in Austin, Texas, serves general contractors, subcontractors, and the do-it-yourselfers, specializing in dimensional lumber, decking, siding, door and windows, hand-hewn timbers, KDAT lumber, and Corbels. Hometown service like none other. Visit us, 9400 Brown Lane, Austin, Texas, or visit us online at gtownlumberandsupply.com. They bring you second inning action here for Georgetown baseball. Due up here in the top of the second for the Eagles. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters, Nations, Rainey, and Ball. Andrew Nations, the left-hand hitting left fielder, will step in from the left side to lead us off against Palmer. First pitch misses outside for a ball. Nations squared to bunt but pulled it back. Took it for ball 1. A 1-0 the count to the sophomore junior Andrew Nations. Palmer from the windup. The 1-0 pitch way outside. Ball 2. 2-0 count to Nations. Jackson Rainey on deck. Talon Ball, the second baseman, in the hole for the Eagles. Here to start the top of the second. The 2-0 pitch. Nations fouls it off back behind home plate. 2 balls and a strike now. Friday night, Pflugerville will come to Georgetown for the second game of the back-to-backs. Palmer from the windup, the 2-1 pitch to Nations, and Nations pops it up left side of the infield. It curls back towards the line, and the shortstop will call it off. But it lands just foul. He doesn't get to it in time. So Nations will stay alive. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The third baseman, Mendoza, gave chase, but was called off by Bradley, the shortstop. But Bradley not able to get there in time, and the ball lands just foul. Had it been fair, Nations was already at second base. Would have been a nice little double. But now Nations will step back in for the left side. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Palmer, a long look in here to Colton Williams. Gets the sign, the 2-2 pitch. Up and in, barely misses. Hitting Nations. But now the count runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nations threw 17 pitches in the top of the first. Allowed 2 hits, struck out 1. Now the payoff pitch to Nations. Nations hits it out towards second base. McGregor up with it. Fires to first in time for out number 1. 4-3 on the put out. We'll bring up the designated hitter, number 11, Jackson Rainey. Rainey will step in from the left side. With 1 out here in the top of the second. Rainey settles in now from the left side. Palmer from the windup gets the pitch. First pitch to Rainey. Misses low for ball 1. Rainey, the junior DH, steps back in from the left side. The 1-0 pitch from Palmer. Stays up and out. Ball 2. 2-0 now the count. Rainey back in ready. Palmer, the 2-0 pitch. Rainey hits it out towards short. The line drive right at the shortstop. Bradley caught for out number 2. L6 in the book. Retires Rainey and brings up the second baseman, number 20, Talon Ball. Ball, the junior second baseman, will bat from the right side. Steps in here in the bottom of the second, or top of the second, with 2 outs. And the base is empty. We were talking about it right before the end of the top of the first. Jacob Palmer, 7-1 on the years, .64 ERA. If he's not pitching, he's playing third or short. First pitch to Ball in there for a called strike. 0-1 the count. But this pitcher-catcher duo of Palmer and Colton Williams, both first-team All-District returning starters for the Panthers. The 0-1 pitch. Ball hits it down the third baseline, and it'll be fielded just foul before the bag by the third baseman, Mendoza. And now a ball behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Ball takes his time walking back to a home plate. Will gather his bat and step back in from the right side. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the second. Base is empty. Now ball will be back in the box, ready to go. Palmer gets the sign. The 0-2 pitch to ball. Misses outside for ball 1. An 11-year stint between these two schools. 2012, the last time they faced off. Palmer from the windup, the 1-2 pitch. Misses low, ball 2. Several of the Panther players started their trot to the dugout, but have to return now. That one missed just low for ball 2. 2-2 now, the count to Talon Ball. Ball back in, Palmer gets the sign, the 2-2 pitch. Big breaking pitch off speed, stays way up high for ball 3, and now a full count to the second baseman, Talon Ball. Noah Boris waits on deck for the Eagles. Should ball reach base. Palmer from the windup, the payoff pitch. Misses low and outside, ball 4. A 2-out walk, first of the ball game issued by Palmer. And ball heads down to first base, and that'll bring up the right fielder, number 9, Noah Boris. Boris will step in here with a runner on first and 2 outs here in the top of the second. Talk about some quarterback news for Noah Boris here in a minute. Boris steps in here in the top of the second from the right side. Ball with the lead at first. The first pitch to Boris, fouled off back to the screen. 4 strike 1. Taylor holds ball on at first base. Ball gets a good-sized lead over at first. Palmer from the stretch, a look at first, now comes set. Pick-off attempt to first, and ball dives back in safely. Eagles had 1 stolen base in the top of the first. Or 2 stolen bases. Peterson and Peters both a stolen back. Another throw over to first, not in time as ball dives back in under the tag. Safely at first. 0-1 the count to Noah Boris here with 2 outs in the top of the second. Runner on first is Talon Ball, the top of the lineup due up next. Should Boris reach base. Palmer comes back set. The 0-1 pitch as ball takes off. It's outside, called on the corner. Colton Williams has to double pump, kind of collect the ball, and that allows Talon Ball to steal the third base of the ball game for the Eagles. Now Boris behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Ball up at second base. Palmer stays in the stretch. Boris back in from the right side, chokes up a little, gets ready here. Now the 0-2 pitch from Palmer. Off speed, Bender stays up high again. And now 1-2 the count to Noah Boris. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the second. Talon Ball down at second base. Reached on a 2-out walk, stole second base. Leads off there. Palmer a look back. The 1-2 pitch to Boris. Stays high for ball 2. Evens out the count at 2-2 now. To the right fielder, Noah Boris. Devin Peterson waits on deck. Top of the Eagle lineup. Boris back in. From the right side, Palmer gets the pitch. Comes set, a look back at second base. The 2-2 pitch. Misses on the outside corner for ball 3, and now a full count to Noah Boris. Noah behind in the count, 0-2. Has worked it back full now with 2 outs here in the top of the second. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Ball with the lead off at second base. Palmer comes set, a look back at second base. The payoff pitch. Check swing called, strike 3. And the Eagles are down here in the top of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 runner left on base. After 1.5, the score still 0-0. More Eagle baseball brought to you by G-Town Lumber and Supply after this and in just a moment. To the bottom of the second. Panthers will bring up the 7, 8, 9 hitters. Mendoza, Reed, and Minjares. G-Town Lumber Supply located at 9400 Brown Lane in Austin, Texas. Hometown service like none other. G-Town Lumber and Supply.com. Leininger on for a second inning of work. From the windup, the first pitch to Mendoza. Just misses inside for ball 1. In his first inning of work, Leininger allowed 2 hits, struck out 1, hit 1. Left the bases loaded. The 1-0 pitch is swing and a miss, strike 1. 1-1 the count now to Mendoza, Max Mendoza. Mendoza from the right side, back in the box, ready to go. Leininger from the windup, the 1-1 pitch. And a ball hit out towards second. Ball to his left will make the field the ball on a hop. Makes the throw to Fluid at first in time for out number 1. 4-3. In the book for out number 1, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, number 25, Diego Mora. Mora will step in from the right side. Correction, I've got Reed. I have to figure out who it is. Hold on 1 sec. First pitch, misses just high for a ball. It says 25 on the scorecard. And on the lineup they sent me today, it said that is Mendoza, but it looks like it may be Reed. And he'll drop a Texas leaguer into right field for a base hit, a 1-out single. Third hit of the ball game for the Panthers. And that'll bring up Minjares, the center fielder. Ethan will step in from the left side. Leininger moves to the stretch. First pitch misses low for a ball. 1-0 the count to Ethan Minjares. So on the lineup card, they have 25 as Reed. So we're going to go with 25 as Reed. So that was Wesley Reed on the Texas leaguer into right field. Leininger a look at first. The 1-0 pitch misses outside, ball 2 to Minjares. One out here in the bottom of the second. Reed leads off a first base, held on by Fluid. And now a pickoff attempt, throw over. Reed dives back in safely. 2 balls, no strikes to the center fielder, Ethan Minjares. Leininger comes set from the stretch. Another throw over. Reed dives back in safely. Peters even with the bag at third base in case of the bunt from Minjares. Leininger a look at first, now comes set. The 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike one. 2-1 now the count to the center fielder. Top of the lineup. Palmer on deck for the Panthers. One out here in the bottom of the second. Runner at first. Another pickoff attempt. Flew keeps it in front of him there. It bounces in off of Reed's right side ribs. Reed dives back in safely. 2-1 still the count to Manjares. Leininger comes set. A look at first. The 2-1 pitch. Breaking pitch just misses. And now the count 3-1. To the center fielder, Ethan Manjares, number 1 for the Panthers. The ninth hitter in the lineup. Steps back in from the left side. The 3-1 pitch. Misses high and outside, ball 4. So a 1-out walk as runners at first and second now. For the Panthers, first walk issued by Leininger here in the ball game. And that'll bring up the leadoff man, number 10, Jacob Palmer. Palmer 0 for 1 in the ball game, grounded out to Hellman back in the first inning. Steps in here with 1 out, and runners on first and second. Leininger from the stretch, a look in. Gets the sign, comes set. The first pitch to Palmer is high for ball. 1-0 the count. 22 pitches thrown in the first inning by Leininger. Now a visit from the senior shortstop, Eli Hellman, talking to his pitcher, trying to calm Riley back down. 1 ball and no strikes, the count to Palmer. Leadoff man in the Panther lineup. Steps in 0 for 1 in the ball game. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Runners on first and second. Leininger looks in, gets a sign, comes set from the stretch. A look back at second. The 1-0 pitch misses low and outside, ball 2. Two 2-0 count to Palmer. D'Angelo Williams, the left fielder, on deck for the Panthers. The 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Leininger in the stretch. Still works from the first base side of the rubber. Reed leads off second. Manjares leads off first. Leininger comes set in the stretch. A look back at second. The 2-1 pitch. Breaking pitch. Palmer gave up on it, bailed out, thinking he might get hit. Crosses back over the inside corner for a called strike, 2-2. Beautiful pitch there. Same pitch that saw McGregor go down looking to end the bottom of the first for the Panthers. Now Leininger comes back set in the stretch. 2-2 count to Palmer. 1 out. Base runners on first and second. The 2-2 pitch. Another breaking ball hit down to third. Peters up with it. He'll go to second for 1. Talon Ball relays it to first, but not in time. Fluid came off to field it and keep it from getting behind him. So a fielder's choice for Palmer has runners at the corners with 2 outs. As the play to record Manjares is out is 5-4. But a good job by Fluid to come off the bag there and keep that in front of him. And Palmer reaches on that fielder's choice. Reed moves up to third base. So now a discussion here as Coach Vieira comes out to talk to the field umpire. I think he's looking at maybe a possible interference at second base and not getting out of the way, giving up yourself when the out is recorded. So a discussion here between the umpire crew to see if an interference is called. It would be an automatic out of Palmer and end the inning for the Panthers. So we'll see as they discuss it here. But Coach Vieira wasted no time coming out of the dugout after the play came to a halt. So we'll see what they rule on the field here. As it stands, 2 outs, runners on the corners. They call him safe, and now Coach Vieira is still coming out to talk again to the field umpire. And so Coach Vieira returns to the dugout. And D'Angelo Williams will step in here from the left side. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. He grounded out to Peters at third base in the first inning. Steps in here with runners on the corners and 2 outs in the bottom of the second. Panthers threatening again here in the bottom of the second. Palmer leads off first. Fluid holds him on there. Leininger from the stretch. The first pitch to Williams. Ground ball hit out towards third. Peters going to take the second hop. He's going to fire across the diamond in time. And D'Angelo Williams down onto the play. 5-3 again for out number 3. And the Panthers are retired here in the bottom of the second. G-Town Lumber Supply brings you the second inning. Proud sponsors of Eagle Baseball. Hometown service like none other. No runs on one hit. No errors. 2 runners left on base after 2 complete. We remain scoreless 0-0. Georgetown and Pflugerville. More Eagle Baseball in a moment here on SHN. Move to the top of the third. Nathaniel Funk, your Leander Georgetown Edward Jones financial advisor, located at 1640 Highland Falls Drive, Suite 801. And Leander, Texas, brings you Georgetown Eagle Baseball here in the third. Learn how he can help you with all your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com/Nathaniel Funk for more. Nathaniel Funk, proud sponsor of Georgetown Eagle Sports. And hopefully we'll get another opportunity this season to have him up in the booth during the football season. He joined Kelly Duvall in October for one of the home ball games while Dave England and myself were out of town. Nathaniel Funk, a former coach at Georgetown High School and a proud sponsor of Georgetown Eagle Sports, as he has moved on from the teaching and coaching profession, but still involved to help support schools and students. Palmer on to work his third inning of work here for the Panthers, as he'll face off against the 1, 2, and 3 hitters for the Eagles, Peterson, Hellman, and Peters. The first pitch to Devin Peterson, a breaking pitch in there for a called strike. Peterson 1 for 1 in the ball game, a single in the first, a stolen base, and was left stranded at third base. Steps in here to lead it off. In the third, the 0-1 pitch misses low for ball 1. 1-1 the count to the junior center fielder. Eli Hellman, Brady Peters due up for the Eagles here in the top of the third. Palmer from the windup. The 1-1 pitch stays high. Ball 2. 2-1 now the count. Through 2 innings. Palmer has allowed 2 hits. Struck out 2. Walked 1. Through 38 or 39. I had 38. They had 39. Pitches through the first 2. The 2-1 pitch stays high. Ball 3. So Peterson way ahead here now. 3 balls and a strike. On a 1-0 count in the top of the first. Peterson led off the ball game with a single to right field to start things off, and steps back in here to lead off the top of the third for the Eagles. Palmer from the windup, the 3-1 pitch, and it misses low and outside. A leadoff walk for the center fielder, Devin Peterson. The second walk of the ball game issued by Jacob Palmer. And that'll bring up the shortstop, number 2, Eli Hellman. Eli 0 for 1 in the ball game. A fly ball to left center field. Tracked down by the center fielder, Manjares. Steps in here with no outs and a runner on first. A throw over to first, and Peterson dives back in safely. Peterson stole the second base back in the top of the first. One of the 3 stolen bases by the Eagles here in the ball game. Peterson leads off first, being held on by Taylor. The first pitch to Hellman. Squares around a bunt, pulls it back, and takes it for a called strike. Coach Vieira voices his maybe a disagreement with the call there. Told Eli, good job of leaving that one down there. Good take. Ball looked kind of low and outside. Now Hellman behind in the count. No balls and a strike. Peterson leads off first. Palmer comes set. Another throw over. Peterson easily dives back in safely at first base. No balls and a strike. A leadoff walk has the runner at first base. Through 2 complete. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Eagles. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Panthers. The Eagles have left 3 runners on board. The Panthers have left 5 men on base. Palmer comes set. The 0-1 pitch. Hellman takes it for a called strike. 0-2 now the count. To the senior shortstop, Eli Hellman. Mendoza was playing up on the corner at third base, expecting a bunt. Now drops back. Palmer comes set. A look over at first base. The 0-2 pitch to Hellman. Peterson off running, and a wild pitch down in the dirt allows Peterson to steal his second base of the ball game. 1-2 the count on the wild pitch. Hellman will step back in from the right side. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs. The runner now at second base, Devin Peterson. Palmer a long look in. Now comes set. But Hellman didn't like the wait, so he takes time, steps out, and gathers himself. He'll reset back in from the right side. Palmer comes set from the stretch. A look back at second base. And now the 1-2 pitch. And Hellman will drive it into left center field. They won't get this one. It's down for a hit, and that's going to score a run as Peterson comes around third. He's headed for home, and he'll score easily. The throw awry from the outfield easily allows Hellman to move up to second base. But more importantly, an RBI single for Eli Hellman has the Eagles on the board first here in the top of the third. Good piece of hitting there by the senior shortstop, Eli Hellman. Went to the same spot as last time in that left center field, but kept it a little lower, and a base hit scores that run. Peterson around from second, and now Eli up to second base. Third hit of the ball game for the Eagles. And that'll bring up Brady Peters, the third baseman. He's 1 for 1 of the ball game with a stolen base. Was left stranded at second and back in the first inning. Hellman leads off second. Palmer a look back. The first pitch, Peters goes to bunt, pulls it back. Hellman's going to take off to second base and easily get in there as the ball skipped in off the arm of the home plate umpire. So now Colton Williams is going to head out to talk to Palmer. 1 ball, no strike. Their field umpire is going to come in here and check on the home plate umpire. But Hellman advances on that one. So now runner just 90 feet away. That'll be another wild pitch from Palmer as that was down in the dirt. Home plate umpire keeping that arm back behind his back. It all started really warming up for the top of the first inning. He got one off the leg, and so may have been an omen for the home plate umpire. He's taking a beating here so far early on in the ball game. But now Brady Peters will step back in. 1 ball, no strikes with no outs and a runner down at third base as Hellman moved up to third on that wild pitch. Peters back in. Palmer, the 1-0 pitch. Peters ground ball out towards short. Mendoza's going to cut it off from third. He'll throw across the diamond in time to get Peters at third base. Hellman unable to score on that, so he'll stay put at third base. 5-3 on the putout to retire Peters for out number 1. And that'll bring up the pitcher, number 21, Riley Leininger. Leininger 0 for 1 of the ball game, struck out swinging back in the first inning. An opportunity to drive in a run here. The corner's in as Taylor and Mendoza. Taylor's in on the grass at the first base side. Mendoza starts out even with the bag at third. Palmer stays in the stretch. The first pitch to Leininger down in the dirt. Good scoop there by Colton Williams to keep it in front of him. 1-0 the count to Riley Leininger. It's David Fluitt, the first baseman, moves on deck for the Eagles. The Eagles 1 run across here in the top of the third to take the 1-0 lead over the Panthers. Threatening with Hellman just 90 feet away with only 1 out here in the top of the third. Leininger back in. Palmer comes set. The 1-0 pitch. Breaking pitch. Gets across there for a called strike. 1-1 now the count to Riley Leininger. Leininger back in from the left side. Palmer comes set from the stretch. The 1-1 pitch. Leininger foul tip off the catcher, Williams. Williams hops up. 1-2 now, the count to Leininger. Leininger chokes up a little bit on his bat, steps back in for the left side. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the top of the third. Palmer comes set. The 1-2 pitch. Leininger sends it out into right field. A nice deep shot. The right fielder giving chase. And he'll make the catch about 3 steps shy of the wall, but that's going to be a beautiful sac fly to score the second run of the ball game. And that wind not blowing in, Leininger has that one out of here. But a beautiful sac fly now with 2 outs in the inning, has the Eagles up 2-0 over the Panthers. Great piece of hitting there by the pitcher, Riley Leininger. So the sac fly RBI. Brings up David Pflugerville, the first baseman. Pflugerville from the left side. He's over 1 in the ball game. First pitch up and away for ball 1. Pflugerville steps back in. Palmer back from the windup. The 1-0 pitch to Pflugerville. Misses low and inside, ball 2. 2-0 the count to the sophomore first baseman. Pflugerville grounded out, hit back to Palmer on the mound. Back to in the top of the first, 0 for 1 in the ball game. Steps back in, the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1, 2-1 now the count to David Pflugerville. Andrew Nations moves on deck for the Eagles. Should Pflugerville extend the inning here. Palmer from the windup, the 2-1 pitch. Pflugerville hits it back out towards the mound. Palmer fields it on a hop, pitches to first base in time for out number 3. But not before the Eagles pick up 2 runs on 1 hit. No errors and no runners left on base. After 2.5 innings, 2-0, Georgetown leads it over Pflugerville this time out. And back with more Eagle baseball after this. Go to the bottom of the third inning, 2-0. Georgetown puts up 2 runs on a hit in the top half of the third inning. Nathaniel Funk, your Leander Georgetown Edward Jones financial advisor, is located at 1640 Highland Falls Drive, Suite 801 in Leander, Texas. Learn how he can help you with all your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com/Nathaniel Funk for more info. Leininger on for his third inning of work. And he'll face off against the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Panthers. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1 to Perez, the right fielder. Perez hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Was left stranded at third base. The 0-1 pitch from Leininger. Skips in there and back off the net. For ball 1, 1-1 the count to Perez. 38 pitches through 2 innings for Leininger. He's allowed 3 hits, struck out 1, walked 1, hit 1, but not allowed a run. The 1-1 pitch fouled off back to the net. 1-2 now the count to the left-handed hitting Jacob Perez. The first baseman Taylor on deck for the Panthers. Leininger from the windup. The 1-2 pitch sails high. 2-2 now the count. Leininger back to work quickly. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Perez goes down for out number 1. Second strikeout of the ball game for Leininger. And that'll bring up the first baseman, number 14, Cole Taylor. Taylor 1 for 1 in the ball game. A single. Left stranded at second base. Back in the first. steps in here with one out. No runners on base for the Panthers here in the bottom of the third. Taylor steps in from the right side. Leininger stays in the windup. The first pitch to Taylor. Ball slapped down the right field line, but it's going to curl foul for strike one. Taylor back in. Leininger ready to go. The 0-1 pitch from Riley. Skips in there for ball one. 1-1 to count. Colton Williams, the catcher, on deck for the Panthers. Here in the bottom of the third. 1 ball, 1 strike to Taylor. Leininger gets a sign from Herrera, the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Chase one in the dirt there for strike two. 22 pitches in the first, 16 in the second for Leininger. He seems to have settled in here. The bottom of the third. The 1-2 pitch to Taylor. The bender fouled off down the first base line. Curls out of play. And Taylor stays alive in the at-bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Beautiful night of baseball here in Pflugerville. A little windy, but beautiful temperature night. Not too hot, not too cold. Definitely not like Conley last week. It's a little chilly. Now from the windup, the 1-2 pitch. This is inside, ball 2. Count runs even at 2-2 now to Riley Leininger. Taylor back in from the right side. Leininger from the windup. The 2-2 pitch. Fouled off back behind home plate. Taylor continues to battle here in the bottom of the third. 1 for 1 so far in the ball game. The single in the first. 1 of 5 Panther runners stranded on base. Leininger from the windup. The 2-2 pitch. And a ball slap foul down the first base line will curve out of play. Nice quality at bat here for the first baseman, Cole Taylor. The next pitch will be the 8th of the at bat for Taylor. Leininger back on the mound, ready to go. Herrera's given the signs, and Taylor back in the box. Riley from the windup. The 2-2 pitch. Ball hit out towards second. Ball to his right. He's going to field it a long throw and makes it just in time. Bang, bang play. What a job there by Talon Ball to get Taylor at first base. 4-3 on the putout for out number 2. And that'll bring up the catcher, Colton Williams, number 5. He's 1 for 1 in the ball game. Singled and left stranded at first in the first inning. Steps in here with 2 outs and the base is empty. In the bottom of the third. Williams will step in from the right side. Ball was playing over towards the first baseline after all the balls sent down the first baseline by Taylor. And he hit that one to Ball's right. He ranged over, made the play, made the throw to Fluid in time for the out at first. The first pitch to Williams, the breaking pitch in there for a called strike. 0-1 count to the catcher, Colton Williams. Second baseman McGregor waits on deck. The 0-1 pitch. And that's the second batter hit by a pitch by Leininger. Colton Williams will head down to first on the hit by a pitch. And that'll bring up McGregor. He struck out looking to end the first for the Panthers, so he's 0 for 1 in the ball game as he steps in here with 2 outs and a runner on first base. Second batter hit by a pitch by Riley Leininger. He'll come set from the stretch. A look at first. The first pitch to McGregor. Low and outside. Herrera's going to throw back in behind Colton Williams as he was leaning towards second, thinking it got away, but dives back in time. 1 ball, no strikes to McGregor. Colton Williams, the catcher, runs for himself down at first base. No courtesy runner for him. Leads off first. Fluid holds him on there. Leininger a look over at first, comes set. The 1-0 pitch as Williams takes off. The ball down in the dirt. Williams will easily advance to second base there. And a ball 2 now. 2-0 the count to McGregor. Reese Herrera will take a visit out to see Leininger and chat on the mound for a second. Try to slow Riley down a little bit here. Get him calm back down. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. 2 quick outs. A strikeout and a ground out. And now a hit by pitch and a stolen base has Colton Williams up to second base and a 2-0 count to McGregor. Brief timeout for some footwear maintenance. Herrera ties the shoe. Now Reese Herrera will look over towards the dugout and get the sign. McGregor steps back in for the right side. 0 for 1 in the ball game. 2 balls, no strikes here in the at-bat with 2 outs and a runner at second. Leininger, the 2-0 pitch. In there for a called strike. Two balls and 1 strike to McGregor. The number 6 hitter in the Panther lineup. McGregor back in. Leininger comes set from the stretch. The 2-1 pitch. Just misses outside, ball 3. Now 3-1 the count to Jordan McGregor. The second baseman with Mendoza, the third baseman, on deck for the Panthers. Leininger looks in. Gets the sign from Herrera. He's going to call time and ask the catcher, Herrera, to come out. Make sure they have the right sign here. 3 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs to McGregor here in the bottom of the third. Eagles put 2 runs on the top of the first, or in the top of the third. The Panthers trying to make some noise here in the bottom of the third to try to answer those 2 runs. They have a runner on second with 2 outs. A 3-1 count to McGregor. Leininger from the stretch comes set. A look back at second base. The 3-1 pitch. It's in there for a called strike. 3-2 now the count. So a full count with 2 outs to McGregor. Hellman back and forth from the shortstop position, keeping Williams close at second. Leininger comes set. The payoff pitch. Ball sent out between first and second. Ball's got a range to his left. He fields it, but not going to be able to make a throw. A nice play into the grass between first and second base. Ball keeps it there, saves the throw, and now a single by McGregor has runners at the corners. 4th hit of the ball game for the Panthers. Colton Williams moves up to third, but can't go anywhere there after that. And now Mendoza steps in. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. Grounded out to second base in the second inning. Steps in here with 2 outs and runners on the corners. Fluid holds McGregor on at first base. Leininger comes set from the stretch. First pitch to Mendoza misses outside for ball 1. Mendoza steps back in from the right side. McGregor leads off first. Colton Williams leads off third. Leininger comes set from the stretch. A look over at first base. Now the 1-0 pitch. Inside corner called strike 1. 1-1 now the count. To the third baseman, Max Mendoza. Panthers have left 5 runners on base so far through the first 2 innings. Trying to push one across here. A throw over to first base. McGregor dives back in safely. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mendoza with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. McGregor leads off first. Fluid holds him on there. Leininger comes set. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. 1-2 now the count to Max Mendoza. Leininger comes set. The 1-2 pitch. And Mendoza slaps it foul down the first base line, out of play. To stay alive in the at-bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the third, runners on the corners. Colton Williams hit by a pitch with 2 outs. Stole second base, moved up to third. On the single by McGregor. Leininger comes set. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3, and the Eagles get out of trouble again. Here in the bottom of the third, no runs on 1 hit, no errors, 2 runners left on base. After 3 complete innings, 2-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over Pflugerville. G-Town Lumber, or correction, I got ahead of myself. Nathaniel Funk, your Leander Georgetown Edward Jones financial advisor in Leander, Texas. Learn how he can help you with all your financial goals. edwardjones.com/Nathaniel Funk for more. More Eagle baseball after this on SHN. Back here at the top of the 4th inning, 2-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over Pflugerville. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up here in the top of the 4th for the Eagles. Nations, Rainey, and Ball due up. Andrew Nations will step in. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game, a ground out to second base. Back in the 2nd inning, we'll lead it off here against Jacob Palmer, on for his 4th inning of work for the Panthers. The first pitch to Nations sails high and outside, ball 1. "57 pitches through 3 innings for Palmer. The 1-0 pitch. Nations hits it into right center field. The right fielder dropped it. A nice layout there, but a base hit by Andrew Nations. A great hustle there by the right fielder, Perez, and when he laid out for it, could not come up with a catch. So a leadoff single, the 4th hit of the ball game for the Eagles. As the leadoff man aboard. And that'll bring up Jackson Rainey, the designated hitter. He lined out to the shortstop back in the 2nd inning. 0 for 1 here in the ball game. Rainey will step in from the left side. Looks down the third baseline to get the signs from Coach Vieira. His Nations will lead off first base. Taylor will hold him on there. Palmer moves to the stretch. Working from the first base side of the rubber. Palmer will come set. Rainey squares the bunt, pulls it back, and takes it for a called strike. 0-1 the count. Through 3 innings, Palmer's allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, struck out 2, walked 2, 2 wild pitches. Now allowing his 4th hit of the ball game with that leadoff single by Andrew Nations. Great hustle attempt there by Perez, just could not make the play. Nations leads off first, the 1-0 pitch, the 0-1 pitch. Misses for ball 1, now it's 1-1. One and 1 to count to Jackson Rainey. Palmer comes set from the stretch. The 1-1 pitch. Rainey takes it low for ball 2. 2-1 the count. To the junior designated hitter on deck. Talon Ball, the second baseman. Nations takes his lead off first base. Palmer with the look over. The 2-1 pitch as Nations takes off. Rainey sends it into right field. Perez gives chase, and he'll make the catch. Nations will have to return to first base. So Perez almost misplayed that one, but is able to retreat a few steps and make the catch for out number 1. F9 in the book to retire Rainey. And that'll bring up Talon Ball. Walked and stole a base in the second inning, was left stranded at second base. Steps in here with one out and a runner at first. Talon steps in from the right side. Nations leads off first. Palmer comes set. Throw over to first base and almost gets away, but a nice play by Taylor there to keep it on the infield. Nations dives back in. Palmer a long look into Colton Williams. Gets the sign, now comes set. Nations leads off first. Palmer a look over to first. Talon Ball will call time and step out. Reset at home plate. Doesn't like the long delay there. So we'll all reset as Nations returns back to the bag. Now Talon Ball back in from the right side. Andrew will lead off first. Taylor holds him on there. Palmer will look into Colton Williams for the sign. Comes set from the stretch. Throw over to first base, and he gets away. Nations dives back, but he'll get up and head down to second base. Taylor gives retreat. Now Nations is going to head to third. A long throw from Taylor as Nations dives in. Safe. What a job there by Andrew Nations. A great hustle. And that'll get him all the way around to third on the error. First error of the ball game, E1. As that pickoff attempt went awry. And that's a two-base error that allows Nations to get all the way to third base, just 90 feet away with one out. Here in the top of the fourth. Andrew turns around and has to unload some infield dirt from his pants as he slid in there on this all-grass field with the dirt infield. Different from what you see back at Eagle Field on Georgetown's campus with the all-turf, field turf infield and grass outfield. So now Nation's ready to go at third base. Talon Ball will step back in. Still has yet to see a pitch in this at-bat, but now steps in instead of a runner on first. 0-0 count with one out and a runner at third. First pitch stays high for ball one. Talon Ball, the number 8 hitter in the Eagle lineup. Noah Boris waits on deck for the Eagles here in the top of the fourth. Palmer stays in the stretch with Nations at third base. One out. Palmer comes set. The 1-0 pitch. Ball fouls it back into the screen. Evens out the count at 1-1 strike. I, for one, am very appreciative of how high that back netting is. So I think that was headed in the general direction of our vehicle. So super appreciative to Pflugerville High School's attention to detail there on this super high net. 1-1 the count to Talon Ball, the 1-1 pitch. Into the left-handed hitter's batter's box. Caught the corner on its way by for a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the second baseman, Talon Ball. Palmer comes set. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, the 1-2 pitch. And Talon sends it into center field, and it's going to fall for a base hit. That'll score another run for the Eagles. And the Eagles will take a 3-0 lead over the Pflugerville Panthers. Talon Ball, the 1-out RBI single. 5th hit of the ball game for the Eagles. Great piece of hitting there by Talon Ball. That scores Nations from third base. And that'll bring up Noah Boris, the right fielder. Steps in 0 for 1 of the ball game. Check swing called. Said he went around for strike 3. Struck out his first at bat, 0 for 1 in the ball game. Steps in here with 1 out and a runner on first. Talon leads off first. Taylor holds him on there. Boris squares the bunt. Takes it back, takes the pitch high for a ball. Talon Ball slides in safely as the ball heads into center field. But Minjares quickly there to back it up to keep Talon Ball at second base. But Talon Ball with his second stolen base of the night. 1 ball, no strikes to Boris. Now another runner in scoring position for the Eagles. 2 runs across in the top of the third, 1 across here in the top of the fourth so far. Palmer comes set and look back at second base. The 1-0 pitch to Boris. Catches the top part of the zone for a called strike. 1-1 the count now to Noah, the right fielder. On deck, the center fielder, Devin Peterson. But now a timeout by head coach Dell Wagner for the Panthers, and we'll take it with them. More Eagle baseball continues here in a moment on SHN. Coach Wagner ends his visit with the infield, and Jacob Palmer, his pitcher. Noah Boris comes back from his visit with Coach Vieira down the third base line. Talon Ball returns to second base. The Eagles, 1 run on 2 hits here in the top of the fourth. They've extended their lead to 3 now. 1-1 the count to Noah Boris, with 1 out and a runner at second. Palmer, a look back at second. Throw back to second base. Talon Ball gets in there. The throw sails into center field. But Ethan Menares quickly there to back it up and keep Talon Ball at second base. Another pickoff attempt by Palmer that gets away, but this time it doesn't affect him. His ball stays put at second base. 1-1 the count to Noah Boris with 1 out. Runner at second. Palmer gets a sign. Now comes set. A look back at second base. The 1-1 pitch to Boris. And cold strike. Now 1-2 the count to the junior right fielder Noah Boris. One and two the count to Boris. Talon Ball to healthy lead off second base. Palmer comes set. A look back at second. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. It's down in the dirt. Boris will take off for first base. The catcher, Colton Williams, throws down in time to record the out, but Talon Ball moves up to third base. So another strikeout recorded by Palmer. 2 outs here in the top of the fourth inning. 2-3 on the putout as Williams throws down to Taylor at first base. And in steps the leadoff man for the Eagles, number 17, Devin Peterson. He's 1 for 1 in the ball game. Single in the first, walked in the third. The first pitch to Peterson, inside corner, called strike 1. Palmer comes set, the 0-1 pitch. Inside corner on the breaking pitch, called strike 2. 0-2 now. Ahead of Peterson. Devin with 2 stolen bases on the night. Singled and stole a base, left stranded at third in the first. Walked, stole second base, and scored a run. In the top of the third, the 0-2 pitch sails high for ball 1. 1-2 now the count. Peterson chokes up on the back, steps back in from the right side. Palmer gets the pitch he wants, comes set from the stretch. The 1-2 pitch. Peterson called out, strike 3 on the outside corner. And the Eagle are retired here in the top of the fourth, but not before they get 1 run on 2 hits. A 1 error and 1 runner left on base. After 3.5, the Eagles lead at 3-0 over the Pflugerville Panthers. More Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. Go to the bottom of the fourth. Riley Leininger on to work here in his fourth inning of work tonight. Stays on the bump for the Eagles. He'll face off against the 8-9-1 hitters for the Panthers. Reed steps in, the designated hitter, to lead it off here for the Panthers. First pitch. This is inside for ball one. Reed 1 for 1 in the ball game. Singled back in the second, was left stranded at third base. Steps in here. 1-0 the count. Leininger from the windup. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Fouled it off. Strike one. Got the delayed signal there on the foul tip. 1-1 the count to Reed. And Jarvis and Palmer on deck. Reed fouls this one back to the screen for strike two. Leininger, 64 pitches through the first 3 innings. He's allowed 4 hits, struck out 3, walked 1, hit 2 batters. The 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, called strike 3, caught Reed looking for out number 1. Make that 4 strikeouts on the ball game for Leininger. And Reed down for out number 1, and that'll bring up the center fielder, number 1, Ethan Manjares. He reached on a base on balls back in the second inning. It was cut down on a ground ball from third to second. Trying to advance on the ground ball by Palmer. First pitch, fouled off back to the screen for strike one. Palmer on deck for the Panthers. Leininger, the 0-1 pitch. Misses just low, ball one. 1-1 the count now. Jarvis from the left side, back in the box. Leininger from the windup, the 1-1 pitch. This is low and inside, ball 2. Two and 1 the count to the center fielder, Manjares. The 2-1 pitch, outside corner. Leininger doesn't get the call. Now the count, 3 balls and 1 strike to the center fielder. Ethan back in from the left side. Leininger, the 3-1 pitch. In there for a called strike, and the count runs full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Center fielder back in the box. The payoff pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Second strike out of the inning for Leininger, 5th of the ball game. That'll bring up Jacob Palmer, the leadoff man for the Panthers. He's 0 for 2 in the ball game. Grounded out to short in the first, reached on the fielder's choice in the second. Steps in here with the bases empty and 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. These two teams meet again Friday night from Georgetown High School. The first pitch to Palmer, breaking pitch in there for a called strike. 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock first pitch, live from Eagle Field. These two teams will square off in their second meeting of the season. Join us live there at Georgetown High School. The 0-1 pitch misses just low, ball 1, 1-1. If you can't be there, join us live here on SHN on the call of the ball game Friday night. Live from Eagle Field. The 1-1 pitch, breaking pitch just high. Now the count, 2 balls and 1 strike to Palmer. Leininger from the windup. The 2-1 pitch. That one's in there for a called strike, and now the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Leininger a shake off of the pitch. Now he's ready to go. The 2-2 pitch. Jam job there on Palmer. Grounder out towards the mound. Leininger will field it, run over and pitch it to Fluid at first. And the Panthers go in order here in the bottom of the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. After 4 complete, 3-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over to the Pflugerville Panthers. More Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. We move to the top of the fifth inning. The 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up here in the top of the fifth for your Eagles. Hellman, Peters, and Leininger due up as Palmer finishes his warm-up pitches on for his fifth inning of work here in the ball game for the Panthers. Hellman will step in, 0 for 1 in the ball game. Correction, 1 for 2 in the ball game. That's not a walk. That was a double. Flew out to center in the first. An RBI base hit in the third. Scored a run as well. And Hellman will lead things off here in the top of the fifth inning for the Eagles. From the right side, Palmer from the windup. First pitch to Hellman. Swing and a miss, strike one. .74 pitches through 4 innings for Palmer. The 0-1 pitch to Hellman. That one skips in low and in the dirt. And the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Through 4 innings, Palmer has allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, struck out 4, walked 2, 2 wild pitches, and a throwing error on a pickoff attempt. The 1-1 slice foul down the first baseline just misses the car driving by. 1-2 now the count to the senior shortstop, Eli Hellman. Palmer from the windup, the 1-2 pitch. Hellman pops it up high on the infield. Taylor, Palmer call for it. Some miscommunication, but in foul territory off the glove of Palmer for a foul ball, and Eli Hellman gets another chance as the dropped fly ball in foul territory. So Eli Hellman, the beneficiary of a dropped sky ball on the infield that was dropped in foul territory, gets to go back in from the right side. Palmer from the windup, the 1-2 pitch. Hellman takes it high and inside, ball 2. Palmer gets the signal. The 2-2 pitch. Low and outside, ball 3, and the count has run full now for Eli Hellman. An RBI base hit back in the third. Opportunity here for Hellman to start things off in the top of the fifth. Palmer, the payoff pitch. And Hellman sends it into the right side, and it's going to get into right field for a base hit, the second of the night for Hellman. And now that dropped pop fly in foul territory by Palmer. Costly for the Panthers that kept the at-bat alive for Hellman, and he makes the Panthers pay with a base hit into right field. Didn't have to be pretty, but it did. It was effective. The second baseman, McGregor, playing over towards the second base side. Big gap between first and second, and that one found its way into right field for a leadoff single, and that'll bring up Brady Peters. Brady 1 for 2 in the ball game, a single in the first, stole second base, was left stranded there, grounded out to third. Back in the third inning, steps in here with no outs and a runner on first. Hellman leads off first. Peters squares the bunt. He'll pull it back, take it inside for a ball. Hellman still second base. He is safe there as Williams threw down, but Hellman beats that. Now with no outs, there's a runner in scoring position again for your Eagles. First stolen base of the night for Eli Hellman. Fifth stolen base of the night for the Eagles. Palmer, a look back at second. The 1-0 pitch to Peters. Breaking pitch finds its way across the plate for a called strike. 1-1 the count now to Brady Peters, the senior third baseman. 1 for 2 in the ball game. Steps in here with a runner now in second. In scoring position at second base with no outs. Palmer, a look back at second. He'll turn towards second base, but no throw here as Hellman quickly back. Brady Peters steps out and resets. One count to Peters here with no outs in the top of the fifth. A runner at second. Hellman leads off there. Palmer a look back at second. The 1-1 pitch. Peters with a swing and fouls it off back behind home plate. Now behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Riley Leininger on deck for the Eagles. Peters back in from the right side. Palmer comes set, a look back at second base as Hellman leads off. Peters doesn't like to wait. Hellman doing a good job of getting the attention of Palmer and the shortstop and second baseman there as his leadoff. Peters calls time and resets. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs. Runner at second base. Eagles trying to put more on the board as they lead it 3-0 here in the top of the 5th. Palmer look back at second. The 1-2 pitch. Peters slices it foul down the first baseline, out of play. Stays alive in the at-bat, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Palmer comes set from the stretch. Hellman leads off second. Palmer a long look back. Now a pickoff attempt. He'll throw it to second base. The shortstop Bradley there. But Hellman dives back in safely. So we'll reset and do it again. Here in the top of the 5th, 3 runs across for the Eagles. 2 in the third, 1 in the 4th. They lead at 3-0 over the Pflugerville Panthers. A runner on second base with no outs here in the top of the 5th. Peters ready to go. The 1-2 pitch. Peters ground ball out towards short. That'll move the runner up to third. Bradley up with it. He'll fire across the diamond in time for out number 1 to retire Peters. 6-3. But a great job by Peters there to move the runner up 90 feet into scoring position at third base, just 90 feet away. And in steps Riley Leininger, the left-handed hitting pitcher for the night. 0 for 1 in the ballgame. Struck out in the first. A beautiful sac fly RBI in the third to score Hellman. Leininger steps in from the left side. Palmer remains in the stretch, working from the first base side. The first pitch to Leininger. Catches the lower half of the zone for a called strike. 0-1 the count with David Fluett, the sophomore first baseman. Waits on deck for the Eagles here in the top half of the 5th. 1 out. 0-1 count to Leininger. The 0-1 pitch. Called strike there. 0-2 the count now to Leininger. He'll have to battle here. 2 tough strike calls there. Now Leininger chokes up a little bit. Palmer comes set from the stretch. The 0-2 pitch. Leininger fouls it back out of play. Good job of battling here with an 0-2 count and 1 out. Here in the top of the 5th, Hellman led off the inning. The ground, a ball base hit into right field. Stalled second base, advanced to third on the ground out by Brady Peters. Hellman leads off third. Leininger back in from the left side, ready to go. Palmer comes set. The 0-2 pitch. Leininger takes it for a ball. 1-2 now the count. 1-2 now to the junior left-handed hitter, Riley Leininger. Leininger ready, Palmer ready. The 1-2 pitch. Leininger hits it down towards first. Taylor right between his legs into right field. And the run will score E3. Allows Leininger to reach base. And the run to score 4-0 now your scores. The Eagles put another one on. The 3rd inning in a row. And now the pitcher Leininger will get a courtesy runner. Now it will be number 8, Jacob Faltasek, to come on a run for the pitcher. Second error of the ball game for the Panthers. Allows the run to score from third, so Leininger the 4th run of the ball game. And now Faltasek on to run for the pitcher Leininger down at first with 1 out. And in steps the first baseman David Fluett. He's 0 for 2 in the ball game. Pickoff attempt. Faltasek back in there safely. Coach Vieira giving instructions down from the third base side. Fluett back in from the left side. 2 ground outs. Both to the pitcher. Steps in here. First pitch. Misses low and inside for ball one. Flew it in. His third at bat of the ball game. Andrew Nations waits on deck for the Eagles. Here in the top of the fifth, runner on first. One run across already here in the inning. Palmer comes set. 1-0 pitch, ground ball out towards the mound. Palmer fields it. He'll throw to second, but no one's there on the base. And so it'll be an error. The shortstop and second baseman, no communication there. Allows Faltasek to get to second and Fluid to reach base. So Fluid reaches on the fielder's choice. Faltasek in on the error. Give it to the second baseman because he caught the ball. Not sure who they'll give it to there. But now that'll bring up Andrew Nations, a one out. Now runners on first and second. Nations 1 for 2 in the ball game. Singled and scored a run in the third. Grounded out in the second. The first pitch from Palmer. Nations tries to bunt it, but bunts it foul down the third baseline. 0-1 the count. And a correction, single and a run scored in the fourth inning by Nations. Steps in here with one out, and runners on first and second. 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and now 1 here in the top of the fifth, and the Eagles trying to put more on. Runners on first and second and 1 out. Palmer comes set. Nations ready to go. A look back at second base. The 0-1 pitch. Nations a swing and a miss. Strike 2. Jacob Palmer up to 95 pitches in the ball game. Comes set. The 0-2 pitch to Nations. Fouled off. Down the third baseline, off the net. Andrew fights and stays alive here. No balls and 2 strikes with Jackson Rainey, the DH, on deck for the Eagles. Nations back in for the left side, ready to go. Palmer comes set. A look back at second base. The 0-2 pitch. Nations fouls it off back to the screen. Fights to stay alive here in this at bat. 0-2 still the count. Faltasek leads off second. Fluid, the runner at first, leads off there. Corners in for the Panthers. Palmer comes set. A look back at second base. The 0-2 pitch. And a ball hit down between third and short into the hole. And no play there on the infield single by Andrew Nations. What a job there. Shortstop Bradley went deep into the hole, but no play by the time he got to it. Nations quickly down the baseline, and now the base is full of Eagles with 1 out. As Jackson Rainey, the DH, steps up. Andrew Nations with his second hit of the ball game, 6th of the ball game for the Eagles. Maybe the 7th. We'll have to check that. Seventh of the ball game. Rainey steps in, 0 for 2 in the ball game. A line out to short and a fly ball to right. First pitch swinging, hits it out, but a little floater out to shortstop for out number 2. So Rainey retired there on the little liner, soft liner out to shortstop, and that'll bring up Talon Ball with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Here in the top of the fifth, Ball 1 for 1 in the ball game. Walked and stole a base in the second inning, was left stranded at second base. Had an RBI single in the fourth. Stole second base, was left stranded there. In the fourth. Opportunity for more RBIs here for Talon Ball. Steps in the box. The first pitch from Palmer. On the extreme lower side of the strike zone for a called strike. 0-1 the count to Talon Ball, the second baseman. Ball back in ready. The pitch from Palmer. That one called a ball 1. 1-1 the count now to Talon Ball. 2 outs and bases loaded here in the top of the fifth. The Eagles trying to add more runs. They lead it 4-0 at this point here in the top of the fifth. Palmer comes set. The 1-1 pitch. Ball pops it up on the infield. Second baseman and the first baseman just scream for it. Taylor, the first baseman, will make the catch for out number 3. P3 in the book retires the Eagles here in the top of the 5th, but not before they get 1 run on 2 hits, 2 errors, and 3 runners left on base. After 4.5 innings, 4-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over Pflugerville. More Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. And now we have our first Nathaniel Funk called to the bullpen. Nathaniel Funk, your Leander Georgetown Edward Jones financial advisor, located at 1640 Highland Falls Drive, Suite 801 in Leander, Texas, brings us the call to the bullpen. And now going into the bottom of the 5th, senior right-hander Brady Peters comes on to pitch for the Eagles. Riley Leininger defensively will move to third base for the Eagles. And Brady will face off against the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the Panther lineup here in the bottom of the 5th. And Brady from the windup. First pitch to D'Angelo Williams. This is low and inside for ball 1. D'Angelo Williams, the left fielder, 0 for 2 in the ball game. 2 ground outs to third base in the first and second innings. Takes the 1-0 pitch. For ball 2, 2-0 now the count. Peters from the windup, the 2-0 pitch. In there for a called strike, 2-1 now the count. Williams back in from the left side. The 2-1 pitch from Peters. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 2-2 the count. To D'Angelo Williams. Peters gets the sign. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball chopped out in front of the plate. Herrera's going to field it. He'll throw down to first just in time. No! A good hustle down the line from D'Angelo Williams at the left side of the left-handed batter's box. So a leadoff base hit for D'Angelo Williams brings up the number 3 hitter, Perez, the right fielder. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. 5th hit of the ball game for the Panthers. First pitch to Perez. He fouls it back out of play down the third baseline. For strike 1. 0-1 the count to Perez. Hit by a pitch in the first and left stranded at third base. Struck out swinging in the third. Steps in here in the bottom of the 5th with no outs and a runner on first. Peters from the stretch. The 0-1 pitch. Misses up and out for ball 1. 1-1 now the count. To Perez. In the stretch, Peters works from the first base side of the rubber. D'Angelo Williams will lead off first base. Fluid will hold him on there. The 1-1 pitch. Inside corner called strike 2. 1-2 the count now. To Jacob Perez, the right fielder. Taylor, the first baseman, on deck for the Panthers. Peters comes set. The 1-2 pitch to Perez. Breaking pitch in there, called strike 3. Perez strikes out for the second time in the ball game, this time looking for out number 1, the first strikeout for Peters. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Cole Taylor. He's 1 for 2 in the ball game. A single in the first, ground out in the third. Steps in here from the right side with a runner on first and 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Peters from the stretch comes set. The first pitch to Taylor. Ground ball out off the mound. Peters off his foot. Peters will try to field it, but not in time. It'll be an infield single. D'Angelo Williams into second base. Brady with a kick save there, but couldn't get it and throw in time. So 2 alternative type base hits here in the 5th off of Peters. Ground ball pounded out in front of home plate by D'Angelo Williams, and he beat it out. And now a ball hit back up the middle by Taylor off the foot of Peters for another infield single. 6th hit of the ball game for the Panthers. Runners on first and second with 1 out. First pitch to Colton Williams, the catcher, in there for a called strike. 0-1 the count to Colton Williams. He's 1 for 1 in the ball game. Singled in the first. Was hit by a pitch in the third. Stranded on base both times. Steps in here with 1 out. Runners on first and second. Peters steps off. Asks for Herrera to go through the signs again. Colton Williams, the catcher, in from the right side. Peters comes set. A look at second base. The 0-1 pitch. Fouled off. Back to the catcher, Herrera, for strike 2. 0-2 now the count. To Colton Williams on deck. McGregor, the second baseman for the Panthers here in the bottom of the 5th. D'Angelo Williams leads off second. Taylor leads off first. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Colton Williams couldn't make his mind up. Kind of a half swing at it. Strikes out swinging for out number 2. Second strikeout of the ball game for Peters. Jared Fremmel runs out some balls and now gets the Georgetown crowd going. And then scurries back to the third base dugout. Jared Fremmel, the manager, coach, extraordinaire, everything. Now McGregor steps in with 2 outs and runners on first and second. A pickoff attempt there. Peters throws the helmet, but D'Angelo Williams dives back in safely at second base. So McGregor will reset at home plate. McGregor 1 for 2 in the ballgame. Struck out looking in the first, a single, and left stranded in the third. Peters' first pitch to McGregor. Late swing, fouled off back towards the dugout as Max Mendoza gets out of the way of that one. 0-1 to count to McGregor. Max Mendoza on deck, the third baseman for the Panthers. Should McGregor get on base? The 0-1 pitch, called strike 2. Brady Peters way ahead now, 0-2 to McGregor. Peters comes set, a look back at second base. The 0-2 pitch. Outside corner, called strike 3, and Peters strikes out the side here in the bottom of the 5th to retire the Panthers. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. 9 runners left on base here in the ballgame by the Panthers through 5 innings. After 5 complete, Georgetown 4, Pflugerville 0. More Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. go to the top of the 6th inning, and we get another Nathaniel Funk call to the bullpen. Nathaniel Funk, your Leander Georgetown Edward Jones financial advisor, located on 1640 Highland Falls Drive in Leander, Texas. Learn how he can help you with all your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com/Nathaniel Funk for more. For the Panthers here in the top of the 6th inning, on the pitch is number 24, Max Mendoza, the third baseman, moves to the mound. So we'll look at the defensive substitutes here for the Panthers. We'll try to get those here in just a second. It looks like number 9, Jaden Oswald, comes in to third base. Boris Peterson and Hellman do up here. Boris takes the first pitch low for a called strike. 0-1 the count. Noah 0 for 2 in the ball game. 2 strikeouts. Steps in here to lead off the top of the 6th for the Eagles. Mendoza from the stretch. The 0-1 pitch in the dirt for ball 1. 1-1 the count. That news we talked about, I said I would bring up a little bit later. Boris received an official invite to the Elite 11 QB camp today. A great sign for the junior quarterback. Takes this pitch high for ball 2. 2-1 the count. So Noah Boris work on the field in football and his relief for the injured Tucker Griffin paid off this year. The 2-1 pitch popped up right side of the infield. The catcher, Colton Williams, ranges over to foul territory, and he'll make the catch. For out number 1, P2 in the book. And that'll bring up the leadoff batter, number 17, Devin Peterson. He's 1 for 2 in the ball game. Singled in the first, walked in the third, struck out looking in the fourth, stolen 2 bases. Steps in here with 1 out. And the base is empty in the top of the 6th. First pitch from Mendoza in there for a called strike. 0-1 the count to Devin Peterson. Mendoza, a long look in. Gets the sign. Now comes set from the stretch. The 0-1 pitch to Peterson. Skips in the dirt. Home plate umpire jumps back. 1-1 the count. He's taken several balls across his body tonight from foul balls and balls in the dirt. A little gun shy there. Now the count 1-1 to Devin Peterson. With Eli Hellman on deck. Mendoza comes set. The 1-1 pitch. Misses outside off the glove of Williams, back to the backstop. 2-1 the count to Devin Peterson. Jaden Oswald down at third base now. For the Panthers, Jacob Palmer moves to shortstop. Mendoza comes set. The 2-1 pitch. Peterson fouls it off back to the screen. And the count evens out at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Palmer leaves the mound after 5 complete innings pitched. Moves to shortstop. Oswald comes into third base as Mendoza moves from third base to the mound. Here in the top of the 6th inning. 2-2 the count to Peterson. The 2-2 pitch stays high. Now a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Peterson back in from the right side, chokes up on the bat, steps in, ready to go. Mendoza look in, gets the sign from Williams. Comes set from the stretch. The payoff pitch stays high, ball 4, a 1-out walk. Gets Peterson on base again here in the ballgame. His 3rd time in the ballgame to reach base. And that'll bring up Eli Hellman with 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. Hellman 2 for 3 in the ballgame. An RBI base hit in the 3rd, came around to score a run, and then a single to lead things off in the top of the 5th. Stole second base, came in to score a run as well. 2 for 3 on the night as he steps in here with one out and a runner at first. Peterson leads off. Throw over from Mendoza. Peterson dives back in safely at first base. 2 stolen bases on the night for Peterson. So Mendoza will try to keep him close to the bag there at first base. Mendoza, a long look in. Now he'll come set. First pitch to Hellman. Misses low for a ball. 1-0 the count. Brady Peters, 1 for 3 in the ball game on deck for the Eagles here in the top of the 6th. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Eagles. No runs, 6 hits, 2 errors. 3 errors for the Panthers. Peterson leads off first. He'll take off on the pitch. The 1-0 pitch way outside. The throw down, not in time. Oh, wow. I guess it is in time. McGregor applies the tag, and they call Peterson out. Caught stealing, 2-4. First runner caught stealing tonight for the Eagles. And now the count, 2 balls and no strikes to Eli Hellman with 2 outs and the base is clear. Mendoza comes set, the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 2-1 the count. To the senior shortstop, Eli Hellman. Hellman back in from the right side, ready to go. The 0-1 or the 2-2 pitch off the glove of the catcher. 4-3. 3-1 now the count. Do not look at the scoreboard. That's all I can tell you. The ball and strike count changes constantly. 3 balls and 1 strike to Eli Hellman with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Mendoza comes set. The 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. The count runs full now to Hellman. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Mendoza comes set. Hellman ready to go. The payoff pitch. Misses outside. A 2-out walk. And Eli Hellman has reached base 3 out of 4 times at the plate tonight. Second walk issued by Mendoza. 4th walk of the ball game issued by Panther pitchers. And in steps Brady Peters, 1 for 3 in the ball game. A single in the first with a stolen base. Grounded out twice in the 3rd and 5th inning. Steps in here with 2 outs, a runner at first. First pitch misses low and outside, ball 1. Mendoza, long look in as Peters readies in the right side batter's box. Hellman leads off. A throw over to Taylor, but Hellman dives back in safely. 1 ball, no strikes to Brady Peters with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Hellman, the runner at first, drew a 2-out walk. Hellman leads off at first. Taylor holds him on there. Mendoza a look over, now comes set. The 1-0 pitch as Hellman takes off. In there for a called strike. The throw down, not in time. Eli still second base. His 2nd stolen base of the ball game. And now moves another runner into scoring position for the Eagles here with 2 outs. Brady has a 1-1 count. Peters back in from the right side, ready to go. Mendoza a look in to get the sign from Williams. Mendoza comes set, a look back at Hellman. The 1-1 pitch. Off-speed breaking ball. Comes across for a called strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, now the count. One and 2 the count to Peters. Mendoza comes set, looks back at second base as Hellman leads off there. The 1-2 pitch. Down in the dirt. Colton Williams keeps it close by, so Hellman can't advance. Now the count goes even. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brady Peters. Brady back in from the right side. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. The 2-2 pitch. Peters sends it down the right field line. Fair ball. That'll get it out into the corner. Peters will circle first, head to second. Hellman around third. He'll score easily as Brady Peters motors into second base with a 2-out RBI double. And the Eagles extend their lead 5-0. Great piece of hitting there by Brady Peters. The RBI double with 2 outs. Score Hellman. And now Jacob Faltasek will come on to run for the pitcher, Brady Peters. As he returns back to the dugout, and now Riley Leininger steps in. From the left side, Leininger 0 for 2 on the night. Steps in here with 2 outs and a runner at second. Mendoza comes set. The first pitch to Leininger. Up and in, just missed Leininger. Ball 1. Leininger reached on an error back in the 5th inning. Struck out in the 1st. Beautiful RBI sac fly in the 3rd. Score Eli Hellman, the 2nd run of the ball game. 1-0 the count to Leininger. The 1-0 pitch fouled off back to the backstop for strike 1. 1-1 the count now. David Fluett on deck for the Eagles. Leininger back in from the left side. 5 runs across now for the Eagles here in the ball game. 2 in the 3rd, 1 apiece in the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings. A 1-1 pitch fouled off back to the net for strike 2. 1-2 the count now to Riley Leininger, the junior left-handed hitter. Now 3rd baseman for the Eagles. Leininger takes time, steps out, resets himself. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Brady Peters, the runner down at second. The 1-2 pitch. Up and in, ball 2. 2-2 now the count to Leininger. Leininger threw 4 innings. Allowed 4 hits, struck out 5, walked 1, hit 2 batters. Steps back in here. Mendoza, the 2-2 pitch. Leininger fouls it off back to the back screen. Stays alive in the at-bat now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Beautiful night here. We're into the top of the 6th inning. Sun is set. Beautiful night. Little wind still going. Mendoza look back at second base. The 2-2 pitch to Leininger. Leininger, fly ball sent into left field. D'Angelo Williams is going to give chase, and the shortstop, Jacob Palmer, is going to give chase back behind third base and make the catch for out number 3. F6 in the buck for out number 3, and the Eagles are retired here in the top of the 6th, and not before they pick up 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. After 5.5, 5-0 your score. The Eagles lead the Panthers. More Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. Go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Peters on to work his 2nd inning. As the first pitch, Mendoza fouled off into the net above the first base dugout. 0-1 the count to Max Mendoza, the pitcher now. He's 0 for 2 in the ball game. A ground out to second and a strikeout swinging. The 0-1 pitch from Peters. Pop up on the right side of the infield. Flew into foul territory. Will make the catch for out number 1. P3 in the book. To retire Mendoza, and that'll bring up the number 8 hitter in the lineup, the DH, Reed. Wesley Reed will step in. He is 1 for 2 in the ball game. A single back in the 2nd, struck out looking in the 4th. Steps in here at the bottom of the 6th with 1 out, and the base is empty for the Panthers. Peters from the windup. The first pitch, ground ball hit down to the first base. Flew it. Flips it over to Brady Peters covering. A good play to recover there by David Fluid. It went off his glove. He retreated, grabbed it, pitched it to Brady Peters covering the bag. For out number 2, 3-1 on the putout. To retire Reed, and that'll bring up the number 9 hitter in the lineup. That is the center fielder, number 1, Ethan Minjares. He is 0 for 1 in the ball game. Walked in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 4th. First pitch by Peters outside corner, called strike 1. Peters from the windup, the 0-1 pitch. Check swing, called strike 2. Wasn't able to check that swing. Home plate umpire said he went around. So 0-2 now the count. To the left-handed hitting center fielder. Ethan back in from the left side. Peters ready to rock and roll. The 0-2 pitch. Low and outside, ball 1. In his first inning of work, Peters threw 16 pitches. Allowed 2 odd infield type hits, but struck out the side. 3 strikeouts in the inning. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. 4th of the ball game for Peters. 9th of the ball game for Eagle pitchers. And the Panthers go in order here in the bottom of the 6th. After 6 complete innings, 5-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over Pflugerville. Back for the 7th inning after this on SHN. Move to the top of the 7th inning. Mendoza on to work a 2nd inning here in the ballgame on a relief for Jacob Palmer. Mendoza threw 27 pitches in his first inning of work. Gave up 1 hit, 1 run, walked 2. Steps back on the mound here to start the top of the 7th, and he'll face off against the 5, 6, and 7 hitters in the Eagle lineup, Fluid, Nations, and Rainey. Mendoza will face off against 3 lefties here in the top of the 7th. Fluid steps in, 0 for 3 in the ballgame, 2 ground outs, and reached on a fielder's choice back in the 5th inning. Was left stranded at second base there. Steps in here to lead things off for the Eagles as they lead it 5-0 over the Panthers. First pitch from Mendoza. Fouled off back towards the first base dugout. 0-1 to count. To the sophomore first baseman, David Fluid. Familial ties to the Fluid family in Dripping Springs that I grew up with. His dad, Trent Fluid. The 0-1 pitch, Fluid right back up the middle. Backhanded by McGregor at second base near the bag. Throw to first in time for the out. Nice play there by McGregor behind the mound. Back up the middle, 4-3 on the putout to retire Fluid for out number 1. Now to bring up the left fielder, Andrew Nations. Nations 2 for 3 in the ball game. Grounded out in the 2nd, 2 singles in the 4th and the 5th inning. Scored a run. Reached on a single in the 4th inning. Moved all the way around to 3rd on the pickoff attempt from Palmer that went up the baseline. Andrew jetted around to 3rd base. Ended up scoring the run for the Eagles that inning. Takes the first pitch high for a ball. Here in his first at bat against Max Mendoza. Mendoza strictly working from the stretch, comes set. The 1-0 pitch to Nations. Swing and a miss, strike one. One and 1 the count to Andrew Nations. Max Mendoza gets the sign, comes set from the stretch. The 1-1 pitch. Ground ball hit out towards second. McGregor, the second baseman, up with it. Shuffle towards first, makes the throw in time. 4-3 on the putout for out number 2. That'll bring up the designated hitter, number 11, Jackson Rainey. Jackson over 3 in the ball game. Hard line drive to short in the 2nd inning. A fly out to center field in the 4th. And a soft liner to shortstop in the 5th. Rainey steps in here with 2 outs and the base is empty. The top of the 7th. Georgetown, 5 runs on 8 hits, no errors. 2 runs in the 3rd, 1 run in the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings each. Rainey's first pitch from Mendoza, fouled off back to the screen, strike one. Talon ball waits on deck. Should Rainey reach base? Rainey back in from the left side. Mendoza with a look in. Gets the sign and comes set. The 0-1 pitch. Low and outside, ball 1. 1-1 now the count. To the junior designated hitter, Jackson Rainey. Rainey back in from the left side, ready to go. Mendoza, a long look in, now comes set. The 0-1 pitch. Ball launched into right field. Perez will back up, and he'll make the catch. For out number 3, F9 of the book, retires the Eagles in order here in the top of the 7th. We go to the bottom of the 7th, 5-0. Georgetown leads it over Pflugerville. 3 outs away from moving to 3-0 in district play. More Eagle baseball here in a moment on SHN. Go to the bottom of the 7th, and Brady Peters on to work his 3rd inning in relief. He'll face off against the 1, 2, and 3 hitters in the Panther lineup. Palmer, Williams, D'Angelo Williams, and Perez due up here in the bottom of the 7th. The first pitch in there for a called strike to Palmer. 0-1 the count. Palmer 0 for 3 in the ball game. 2 ground outs, and it reached on a fielder's choice back in the 2nd inning. 0-1 the count. Peters quickly works the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 0-2 the count. Through 2 innings, Peters has thrown 23 pitches, allowed 2 hits, struck out 4. From the windup, Palmer chokes up. Peters ready to go. The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball hit out towards second. Talon ball to his right. Fields it. Makes the throw across the first in time for out number 1. 4-3 in the book. For out number 1 retires Palmer. And that'll bring up the left fielder, number 17, D'Angelo Williams. He is 1 for 3 in the ball game. A couple of ground outs. Singled and left stranded at second base back in the 5th inning. Steps in here with the Panthers down to their final 2 outs. Bases are empty with 1 out. Peters from the windup. The first pitch. Misses inside, ball one. Williams had one of the two hits against Peters. He chopped it out in front of home plate. Beat it out down to first. 1-0 pitch, misses low, ball two. 2-0 the count. The 2-0 pitch to D'Angelo Williams. That one misses, ball three. 3-0 the count. To the left fielder, D'Angelo Williams. The 3-0 pitch from Peters. In there for a called strike. 3-1 now the count. The 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. And now Brady Peters has worked his way back to a full count against Williams. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Here at the bottom of the 7th, Peters ready to go from the windup. The payoff pitch. Fouled off back to the screen. Williams stays alive in the at-bat. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The payoff pitch misses outside, ball 4. So D'Angelo Williams draws a full count, 1-out walk. First walk issued by Peters, only the second walk of the night by Eagle pitching. And now stepping in will be the right fielder, number 22, Jacob Perez. He is 0 for 2 in the ball game, was hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Struck out swinging in the third, struck out looking in the 5th. Steps in here with 1 out and a runner at first. Takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Peters now from the stretch with D'Angelo Williams leading off first. Fluid holds him on there. The 1-0 pitch to Perez. Fouled off down the third baseline. Curls back out of play. And the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomorrow night, 6:45 p.m. from the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street. The Eagle Baseball Coaches Show with head coach Jordan Vieira. Kelly Duvall will have the Coaches Show tomorrow night. We will be on Thursday nights pretty much for the rest of the regular season, live from the Golden Rule. Come join us live there on the patio. The 1-1 pitch, fly ball sent down the left field line. Nations gives chase into foul territory, and Andrew Nations is going to make the catch for out number 2. A nice long run there for Nations. F7 in the book to retire Perez. And now the Panthers down to their last out of the ball game as the first baseman, number 14, Cole Taylor, steps in with 2 outs and a runner on first base. Taylor 2 for 3 on the night, 2 singles and a ground out. Steps in here, trying to extend this ball game for the Panthers. They find themselves down by 5 with 1 out remaining. First pitch inside corner, called strike 1. The Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street, hosts the Eagle Baseball Coaches Show. Kelly Duvall will have it tomorrow night. First one, 6:45 p.m. Join them live there. It's a beautiful opportunity to enjoy Talk Eagle Baseball. The 1-0-1 pitch. Breaking pitch catches the inside corner. Strike 2. 0-2 now the count to Taylor. Down to their last striker, the Panthers. And then Friday night back live here on SHN. We'll be back at the Eagle Field on the campus of Georgetown High School to take on the Panthers again. The 0-2 pitch, ground ball down towards third base. Leininger will make the play. He'll throw it across the diamond, but it's going to sail on him over the head of Fluid all the way to the fence. And that'll allow D'Angelo Williams to advance to third base. So the inning stays alive here. First error of the ball game. It'll be an E5 in the book. Will allow Taylor to reach first base. And D'Angelo Williams to move up to third. That'll bring up the catcher, Colton Williams, number 5. He's 1 for 2 in the ball game. Singled in the first, was hit by a pitch in the third, struck out swinging in the 5th. Steps in here with runners on the corners and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. The first pitch from Peters sails high, ball 1. The Golden Rule was home to the Eagle Nation Coaches Show for football with Coach Chuck Griffin. And now for the baseball show, they sponsor that and bring it to you live. Join Kelly Duvall and Coach Vieira tomorrow night, 6:45. 1-0 pitch, misses low and inside. Ball 2, 2-0 the count. Join us there live. Great food, great atmosphere. Golden Rule, nothing like it. One of the best spots in Georgetown. Come join us there tomorrow night. The 2-0 pitch. Misses up and in, ball 3. 3-0 the count now to Colton Williams, the catcher for the Panthers, with Jordan McGregor, the second baseman, on deck. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. The 3-0 pitch. Misses low, a 2-out walk. Loads the bases full of Panthers. Only the 3rd walk of the ball game for Eagle pitching, 2nd of the night. Here for Peters on in his 3rd inning of relief, and now Jordan McGregor steps in. He's 1 for 3 on the night. 2 times he struck out looking and singled in the 3rd. Bases full of Panthers. Peters goes back to the windup with 2 outs. The right-handed McGregor in the box ready to go. The first pitch from Peters. Low and outside, ball 1. Riley Leininger in line for the win tonight. Peters looking to save this one as the base is loaded with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. 5-0 your score. Peters a look in. Now he'll step off. Get back. Reese Herrera, the catcher, to go back through the signs. Now Peters comes set. The 1-0 pitch. In there for a called strike. A little visit from the shortstop, Eli Hellman. Gets Brady Peters locked back in. 1-1 the count. Now to Jordan McGregor. Peters from the windup. The 1-1 pitch. Low and in the dirt. Herrera with a good block there. Count 2 balls and a strike now to McGregor. The win tonight, the Eagles stay undefeated, 3-0 in district play, moved to 8-10-1 on the year. The 2-1 pitch from Peters. This is outside, ball 3. 3-1 now the count. No action in the Eagle bullpen. Coach Vieira leaving this in the hands of the senior right-hander, Brady Peters. McGregor back in from the right side. Peters gets the sign. The 3-1 pitch. And it misses just high. That'll walk in the first run of the ball game. 3rd walk issued in the inning. Coach Vieira. Coach Vieira upset with that ball 4 call. He steps back in the dugout. So D'Angelo Williams scores the first run of the ball game. He's walked in. First pitch to Mendoza. Called strike 1. Taylor up to 3rd base. Colton Williams up to 2nd. The 0-1 pitch. Ball hit out towards first. Under the glove of Fluid. Covering behind. What a play. Talon Ball. He covers behind as the ball went up the glove of Fluid. Ball throws it to Brady Peters covering first base. And bang, bang, but Mendoza's out, and the Panthers are down here in the bottom of the 7th. 5-1 your score. The Eagles are victorious. 4-1 on the putout to record the final out of the ball game. And the Eagles win it 5-1 over the Pflugerville Panthers. Georgetown improves to 8-10-1 on the year, but more importantly, 3-0 in district play. The Pflugerville Panthers dropped to 4-12 on the year, 1-2 in district play, and these 2 teams will meet on Friday night live at Eagle Field on the campus of Georgetown High School. We'll take a quick break. I'll go down to the field, have a visit with Coach Vieira, and then we'll wrap it up from the field. You're listening to Georgetown Eagle Baseball live here on SHN. We're back here live, Pflugerville High School. The Eagles victorious 5-1. You know, at the end of there, Brady Peters locking in. What a good job pitching tonight. The Eagles strike out 9, only walk 4 on the night, and 3 of them there in that last inning. But a great job by Leininger tonight on the mound, doing a great solid job. And then Brady Peters coming in to lock it down. 3 different pitchers we've seen in 3 district starts for you, Coach, and 3-0 record so far in district play. Got to like that one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we get plenty of guys we trust to put the ball in their hand and for them to be able to continue to attack barrels and do a great job. I mean, Riley Leininger, when he's in the zone, he's one of the best guys we got, and he can go get anybody out whenever he needs to. So he's got 3 pitches where he can locate and continue to pound the box. And then we have plenty of confidence in giving the ball to Brady Peters and letting him get after it. You know, it's one of the first times he's been on the mound in district, so it's a good job for him to be able to be there.
A little reminiscent to see a number 4 on the bump in relief of what we got to see and got used to last year with Wade Denton for Brady to come in and just lock down 23 pitches through his first 2 innings of relief tonight. But how much comfort does that give you knowing that bullpen, you can go deep, never even had anybody warming up there in the end? That's in Brady's Peters to come in and shut it down. How comforting is that for you and the coaching staff?
No, it's very comforting. I mean, you know, when you got guys that you can trust that they can go in and they can fill up the strike zone, then they can play defense behind it. I mean, that gives everybody comfort just with the ability to continue to put the ball in play and be in the strike zone. So that's always quality.
Talked about it before game 1 of last week, and now after game 3, clean defense will win you some ball games. Amen. And you guys can hang another night. Only one tough error there at the end, but another good clean defensive night for your guys.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to if you can play catch, you can play baseball, and that's one of the things that we spend a bunch of time on. And you know, when we can pick it up and throw it to first base, we need to, or catch it when it's in the air. You know, you take those outs as well as you can. So everything goes back to that, and we play good defense. I think we can play with just about anybody.
Tomorrow night, 6:45 at the Golden Rule. Kelly Duvall is going to be with you tomorrow. Yeah, so I just wanted to prep you to give you time to prepare. But Kelly Duvall back in town, just landed. He just called in a minute ago. He'll be there live with you tomorrow night. I'll be back next week.
Awesome.
But we start the Coaches Show again at the Golden Rule now this year, a new host site, proud sponsors of Georgetown Eagle Baseball, and then a quick turnaround Friday night against these same Pflugerville Panthers at home. What do we look for there as they come back or they come to Georgetown to take us on Friday night?
Yeah, you know, we're going to get their best effort again. They got another quality arm that they're going to run out there and give us, and we got full confidence in the guy that we're going to run out there as well. So it's going to come down to if we can attack the strike zone, if we can put the ball in play routinely, and we can pick it up and throw it to first base. I mean, those are the 3 keys we're constantly looking for, and if we can do that, I think we got a pretty good chance.
Shout out before I let you go.
I mean, I always got to tell my wife hello.
That's exactly right.
Well done. Good setup, man. I appreciate that.
Coach, thanks for joining us. Congrats on the win. See you on Friday night.
Appreciate you guys.
Tomorrow night, 6:45 at the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street, live there in Georgetown. The Eagle Baseball Coaches Show with Coach Jordan Vieira. Kelly Duvall will have it for you tomorrow night. Then we'll be back on the air, 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock first pitch on Friday night to take on these same Pflugerville Panthers in district play. 3-0 now in district are the Georgetown Eagles as they lead District 23 with that undefeated record. Thanks for joining us live here tonight from Pflugerville. Remember, it doesn't cost you a dime to be kind. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow night from the Golden Rule.